everyone, and welcome to another Evolving Lover podcast. On this podcast, I'm bringing you Kateřina, who is the woman I've been looking for about 37 years. Although it's kind of hard to measure when I started being an adult. I think I started looking for the right partner, I don't know, probably from the age of about 17 or something. But I didn't really consciously, I think, become a man and consciously go on the journey to inner discovery to find the right partner until I was 28. So that's 9 years of looking inside myself to do the healing work to find her. And so I'm bringing her on today to talk about how we met and the inner work that we both had to do to meet each other. And so, hello, Katja.
Hi, everyone.
So, yeah, I'm going to be trying to host this, but it is a bit weird for me because, we're partners, and so we'll do our best. We have just got back from speaking at the Healing Festival in Brno in the Czech Republic, where we were talking about the inner work of the Holy Trinity within, and Katja was doing a meditation. So I think the best thing to do is get her to tell you a bit more about her healing path before she met me, maybe the few years when she decided to go on that journey, what age she was and things like that. So Katja, could you tell us about your healing path?
Sure, I would love to do it. I don't know exactly where to start. The more I'm thinking about that, it's pointing to always being a very little. And even a very little kid, I had all of those glimpses of knowing that there's something much bigger or something which is... I always felt that I could probably reach something special. And I didn't know what does it exactly mean or what is it all about. And then it went all a little bit different when I don't know how I would even explain it, but I was quite like having a lot of problems very, very early in my age. Like 21, I was really fully depressed and not very healed in my body. And I have many problems, severe back pain, anxiety level, 1,000, like a lot of things. But I was still like kind of... The main thing was that I didn't understand the purpose of the life and why I'm even doing what I am doing, because that moment I had like a partnership and having some job, but I was not really happy and I didn't know where to look, where to search. And then because I was really, really sick, there were a point or moment where I was in the hospital and I found... that the night I had a dream, and then the doctor came and the doctor was telling me something about holistic healing and some kind of therapies. And then the other days I was asking one nurse, who is the doctor? And she told me that there's no one like that. So I just kind of felt that it was like an angel coming probably through the dream, or even maybe I saw him and he was telling me about that. And that moment I started to search a bit more. And I found my mentor, which I didn't know at the time she would be my mentor, but it was a regression therapy based on the healing. This is how I started. For 2 years, I was just really clearing myself with her help. So it was more like I was more like patient. And I was doing also yoga, physical yoga, for a couple of years, even before, but it was nothing too much. And then,
I just want to give a bit more context of the healing path and how we met, and so you can elaborate on from that point, because one of the reasons that we started to get to know each other from my point of view was when we met each other back in July 2020. I remember telling you about my journey on that day, and we were talking about you coming to be a yoga teacher. It wasn't a date or anything like that. We were just meeting kind of for business purposes. And I told you on that day a bit about my journey and my journey of clearing the other dimensions or the astral realm or whatever you want to call it, the unseen realms. And you said to me the words like, yeah, why wouldn't I believe in that thing? And kind of explained that you had been working in those realms a little bit as well. And that's what intrigued me more to get to know you more, because I hadn't really met anyone in my journey since 2015 when I really got deep into that work who was doing similar things. And so I just want to give that context of the healing path, because I know a lot of the regression therapy involves clearing things from your past or the past in general and dealing with the astral realm. So how has that path been for you? And was it significant when I spoke of those things when we first met?
Yeah, and I wanted to actually go there just because it has a lot of links to it. Because when I started to be in a regression therapy, and that level, the part of the clearing and or cleaning of myself was that moment. I was like a patient, so I didn't know what exactly is happening, but we were basically cleaning my karmic influences first. But then in that moment, it was, after we cleansed this, after 2 years, I was literally even in that moment someone else. So the time I decided to travel, and this is all linked how and like why we met, because otherwise, if I wouldn't do that, it will probably never happened. And so then I was traveling, and the really important part of it was also my teacher training courses I was doing in Thailand, which is like yoga teacher training. But those teachings were also linked to really deep healing through the karmic influences. Each of the session was really made like that you are preparing the space, that you are all the time kind of like dealing with other energies and stuff. So I was all the time doing it, but in a bit different way and more shamanic level. It became I think like a year before we met, once I was really starting to clear other things with my mentor, because there were a point that she said, now you are clear, and you are channel, and you can help me with my work. And this is how it started, that we were also clearing other things, not only myself or my kind of personal life, but it was also having the other influences and stuff. Is it what you ask a bit?
Yeah, I think kind of takes me back to Teal Swan on my first podcast. I asked her what attraction is, and she said something along the lines of you can only attract someone to you at the similar or same vibration that you're at. And that was back in 2013, and it kind of struck a chord with me because I'd never really heard someone say that before. So I spent the years trying to work on myself, and then it links to all this astral clearing and cleansing, because when you get to a point, as I found with my mentor and you found with your mentor, who are both elder women and basically like mothers, shamanic rebirth mothers for ourselves. So mine was American, yours was Czech. They helped us rebirth ourselves in terms of the healing level, and then we ended up both working with those mentors to clear on a collective level. You doing your thing, me doing my thing. Mine was more in 2015, 2016, and I took those tools and have been using for the last couple of years more strongly. And back to what Teal said, she said about the vibrational level, but you also attract people in your life, partner and friends, who are on a similar or same integrity level. And integrity goes up massively when you start clearing yourself, and then when you start clearing the collective, as long as you're doing it for good and you're doing it for the highest good and you're clearing these darker energies, you know how to do it, then inevitably, you'll start attracting a partner or friends around you who want to either at least live in that realm and want to be part of what you're doing and learn the skills you've learned to navigate to that point where you can actually have an influence over all of reality and your own reality. So I think it was an important moment when we started getting to know each other that you were on that level of integrity at a young age. I mean, you're 5 years younger than me. And you got into this journey very young. Both of our mentors were elder. I haven't met any other guy who were as young as me doing kind of similar work. I met an elder guy in Colorado who was in his 60s, and there was a couple of guys that age who were doing similar work. But it's actually quite rare to meet young people doing what we're doing. But I don't want to put us on a pedestal too much. We just been down the path that, we wanted to go down. We didn't want to go down the normal path. We knew it wouldn't lead us anywhere where we would want to be. We were stuck in our own suffering when we were young teenagers or young adults, and we wanted to get out of that. So we both searched for a way out. Can you remember back to a particular moment where you were like, I want to find my way out of this into a better world? It was in your 20s or even before that?
Yeah, I think I always wanted, that's, as I said, a bit of sense of like feeling being a bit of special, and I meant like there must be some hack, there must be something that like I don't want to be part of it. And I had a moment when my soul was really like screaming inside of my body, like really screaming of, like letting it all out and be really wild and free, because I think our soul is really wild and free. Like freedom, it's only, I think, what I was always searching for or looking for. Either it's like a job thing, it's a partner thing, it's a living thing. It has to be based on freedom, and all of those things which society or like the normal life was offering was definitely nothing to do with freedom. So I was always searching for something else, and there were a couple of events, but this time when I was really, really sick and I started with the regression, and then first time I felt I'm strong enough to go to travel, and I started to travel and everything. I get this sense of it. So I think it was between, but the crucial time for me was like age 27.
That age 27, 28 is pretty important for many who are on the path. People I met in Guatemala were saying that age is the age of the Saturn returns. When Saturn comes back to your place in the chart where you were born, it comes back around 27, 28 years, because that's the time it takes to circle around the solar system and come back. And that's a power planet, and stepping into your path planet, I imagine, because that's when we both started stepping strongly onto that path. I look back at photos of myself. I was looking the other day when I was 22, 23. How did I even get to where I was? Because I was just unconscious in some ways, but in other ways I was awakened. I mean, from the age of 5 or 6, I knew this was a place of God versus Satan. From the age of 16, watching The Matrix, I knew part of that was real. Then I guess I spent a couple of years drinking 2021 and sort of trying to forget about it. Then those ages 21 to 28, I was just trying to build a business. I wasn't like a bad dude or anything. I was just not fully living on my purpose. And then 28 comes and I start Raw Attraction Magazine, start this podcast, of which the podcast, I've deleted a lot of the podcasts. I had 144 on here, but due to the events of the last 17 months, since about March 2020, and the people that I had on the podcast and what they were doing, what I could see online, and instead of going against what was happening, they were following government rules and doing everything the totalitarian way, which I've been opposed against since the week this started in March 2020, it was ridiculous. So I had to delete all the podcasts. As I say, the inner integrity levels are important, and truth is important. And there was only a few people like JP Sears, who I had on, and Teal Swan, who are doing good things. The rest, most of the rest, just a lot of bypassing going on in the Tantra and spiritual communities. It's been very disappointing for me to watch so-called teachers who were trying to teach people about their internal power and have freedom, as we're talking about, and how you create that as a couple and how you create that on your own. It's just been disappointing to watch. So we're going to have more podcasts with me and Katya going forward, and just different guests coming on as I kind of rebuild this to help people in the new world that's going to be coming, or is coming now, that is available. If you want to access truth and follow truth, then this is the podcast to be on, as well as people like JP, who's doing a great job. So for you, accessing freedom and power and integrity, how has that been as a woman before you met me, and then meeting me? Where have you found your freedom and your power and your integrity in the last year, going on what's happening in the world? Maybe give some thoughts on that.
Yeah, before we met, it's actually like sometimes I don't even remember what was before we met. But I think all this journey with, as I said, healing, like cleaning with my mentor, with the regression therapies, with loads of yoga, teaching yoga because I became a teacher, being a mentor for another women because now I'm doing my regression therapies as well as someone who is guiding and all of those things. So there has been many of experiences which I experienced or hold a space for others, and especially for women, in that point which you said, even the collective realm. And I would like to talk about a bit more about it, but how is it touching my, or how it was with my, it's all linked and it's all connected with the freedom, how we really want to be free and free souls, because we are, as I said, free souls and wild souls. It's very important to understand the word wild, because if you really don't have your own path, or if you are not really stepping into your strength of being the one who is choosing the path, you don't really know what the freedom means. Freedom was, I had to experience many things which I have to understand that this is not a way, like many kind of different jobs and partnerships and actually relationships, and but then with all of those healing processes, I found there were a moment that I really thought that the freedom is that now I reach it and I want to be alone, because I kind of felt there's no one as a man on my level, but not saying it from kind of like egoistic way, but my level of being clean or being really clear with what I want to create, how I want to live, what the freedom means for me, how I can feel myself into my body, how I want to be perceived, how I want to share the love with the one. And I think the moment when I kind of decided that I don't want to have any partner, you show up and you were just the living example that this is possible, and that's the work I'd done, basically done for us, that we could be together, we could meet. And that moment it started to be the real experience of how to be free in a partnership, or how to feel myself free as a woman, how I actually have the power as a woman, because you are not taking my power, you are giving me the power. And yeah, feeling free in my own body, with my own thoughts. Yeah, this is what I would say.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's been an honor to do the journey with you, and so far, and where we're going to be going next. And I think key for men listening, I like the metaphor of dancing, and it's what I've learned with salsa back in 2012. It was a great gift to learn with one of the best salsa teachers in London, Sammy Rodriguez. And most Latin dances and most dances in general, the man leads. And in the attraction game, the man leads. It's not a world where women are doing pickup. It's not a world where women are leading on the salsa or tango dance floor. It's not that world, and likely never will be. So the man in relating has to lead, unless you want some kind of strange relationship, which I won't be able to help you with. But for me, the man has to lead, and so the man has to lead with wisdom and knowledge, and that knowledge I gratefully accepted and I'm very grateful for from my mentor and from my I am self, my higher self, and pondering what true power was and true love was and true freedom was. For me, it was more about power, because I think when you get your internal power back, you have more freedom. And that was a long journey to realize that, and also just to know it. And we spoke about that on the festival the other day with about 40 participants. And that all centers back to things I've been talking about and will continue to talk about until forever, around the Holy Trinity within, the masculine, feminine, inner child, and then the double Holy Trinity, and then the upper Holy Trinity consisting of the great I am, and the soul, and having a deep knowledge about these things. But yeah, I was trying at the beginning. I knew you had most of the tools you needed. There was a couple of things that I mentioned to you at the beginning around the I am self, and we did things around forgiveness, around that forgiveness processes via the I am, which is, for me, the definition of the I am is the highest part of your sovereign self that is connected with the great I am, which is God consciousness and great spirit. And working down from there to do the inner alchemy is extremely powerful if you haven't done it before. But you need a mentor, I feel, to do that. So I was sharing these tools, you were sharing your tools with me, and those first few months we were just kind of showing each other how we worked on ourselves and with each other, and it was a powerful few months. We were doing a lot of shamanic work, and we also came in at a time where the world was going through great flux, through great change, with this crazy attack on humanity that has come from my understanding, well, from the truth, when I speak the truth, a deeper state. People call it a deep state, but it's just an unconscious, probably alien form that is not human, that wanted to take and has been taking over this planet for tens of thousands of years. And this is why it's a biblical battle. A lot of the Americans right now, I think the Americans are more awake. There's a majority of Americans that are more awake than any other nation at the moment, because they're in the center of the battle for their country. And if they don't get their country back, none of us get our country back. America is the center point of all this. That's why it's been chaos with the Trump and Biden administrations and what's going on there, and we'll wait and see what happens on a 3D level. But on a astral level, it's been an ongoing battle for tens of thousands of years. And so what the astral realms, the dark ones in those realms, they didn't want people getting their power back via the ways that our mentors were teaching and how other high-level beings are teaching across the world, which there are not so many of them, but there were some. And there's a group of us doing this work, and I know other people who are doing this work. And so we came together at that time where we were fighting the astral realms, the dark things in the astral realms, for our sovereignty and our power. And we're at a cross point now where we're recording on this on the 23rd of August 2021, and we're right on a cross where something I feel biblical, it's going to happen very soon. I don't want to put a date on it, but I gather it would be before the end of the year, but I've thought that before, but I just can't see with what's going on at 3D level that it will last longer than that, but who knows. And there's already biblical things happening right now, and so we feel it's extremely important for couples, or anyone really, but also couples, to come into their power together and not give their power away to dark ones in the astral realms, because they still exist, even though it's very, very clear on a level where we can have an awakening here. These darker beings still exist, and they still like to feed off fear and pain and grief and things like this, and they will come after you if you're accessible. And so we need couples who are consciously taking their power back, not blaming each other, and moving forward in their power. Maybe you want to comment on how important you think that is.
I think that's why it was the important moment when we were sitting together first time on that coffee, and you started to explain a bit of like deeper stuff about your journey, and you were just speaking about stuff which in those names I might not really hear before and stuff, but I knew, like I was like, yeah, that happened, and all of those things, like, yeah, I understand, because this is the thing. When I was doing all of this stuff with my mentor, but experiencing through my own like inner sessions, and really many times going into the moment where it was not just me, and it was like a collective perception of something, or holding the space for my clients, and the amount of, or I don't know if is it amount, but this like really understanding or having the experience from the dark stuff, what was there. Sometimes even when I was holding the space, or I was experiencing it, I couldn't even believe to it, because the brain or the logical mind doesn't want to take it. So even if you listen this and you are like, oh, okay, what is those things, and then the battle or dark battle and biblical events and all of those things, this is all true, this is all happening. And it's the crazy thing is that maybe not all of the people, they have the access to see it from the collective, which is, there's no need for it probably. But once you really get clear enough, once you really are the channel, then the energies are channeling through you, you might have the access to do those things, because there were a time it was really needed. A couple of people like us were do this work, because otherwise I can't imagine how it could be without doing that.
It would be hell on earth, I imagine. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the attacks. I had an attack when I was in 2015 where felt like there was a sword going through my shoulder, and like some hulk of a dude was ripping my arm off, and would have my chakra system ripped out. I'd have my inner child ripped out. It was a ridiculous story, which I talked about in a couple of podcasts before. And I talk about it on my Awakening Journey podcast and YouTube video. When you feel those things, or you see those things, I wasn't really seeing them much. I was just feeling them intensely in my body. And knowing my mentor, who lost her husband, who was fairly old, 72. I mean, not that old for someone living these days. And he died, and she didn't have him to lean on to do the work. I felt a moral obligation to help her to clear the stuff, because I knew it existed. It's like Jordan Peterson says, clear your bedroom. I knew my bedroom was a mess. My bedroom was the entire universe. And I think you felt the same. It's like, okay, I know this is a mess. Now I need to get involved with clearing it, even if I die during the process, which I did essentially die 1,000 different ways. I had to die to the old world, because the world that was created here was created by the dark ones, and pretty much everything in it, or especially all the celebrities, all the media, all of this, all of the lies, anything that doesn't have the vibration of pure truth, which is almost everything, is just dead. It's just a zombie world. And so we have been living in a type of hell, and with all the hidden stuff which is going on at the moment, with all the elite pedophilia and horrific stuff that has come out on some level but hasn't come out fully. It's horrific. It's already been hell on earth. And now, yeah, it could have been hell on earth for eternity, and you would have been stuck in the middle of it if this wasn't cleared on some levels. And there was a lot of people needed to do a lot of different things, from the American military to other militaries working with America to do this, to clear this stuff out. And it's still ongoing, and there's still a lot of inner work to do, and there's still work to do, and we're all important. Or I'm not more important than anyone else here. Everyone's important. But it's important we fight for truth right now. That's the only thing that matters. Christ was the living embodiment and the living story of the truth. People talk about turn your life to Christ. When I hear turn your life to Christ, I hear turn your life to truth, because that's all he spoke if you listen to his words fully, especially in the Gospel of Thomas, which I really like, in the Nag Hammadi book. It's just pure truth when you know how to read that. I've gone through a couple of those, well, a few of those sayings on my podcast. So where do you think this new world is going? What do you see in this new world, especially for couples and people who consciously want to awake? Where is your vision of the new world?
It's a nice one. I would like to also mention, even before I go to it, that it's really important that you have, even in your partnership, your own space, and you really take care about yourself. It means really, with all of those habits, either it's some movement, yoga every morning, having healthy diet, all of those things, because this is helping you to reach the high vibration. For me, the new life, it's always here. It's a state of mind, it's state of consciousness, but to really not even having a thought about what was happening or about the old word. That means I don't want to say it or verbalize it like in a way that it's kind of might sound like bypassing through, but I really feel that giving the intention to the higher or highest state it's possible on the frequency your own self. So it might be really since morning till evening, but doing the most that you can, really be there all over the time and spending time in the nature and stuff. And I can see it in the couples, if there's the inspiration all of the time, like they are learning from each other, they are inspired, and they create new things for the heaven on earth, which is really even new, bringing new education, giving this essence of love to the kids, and those old things you were mentioning about, they are not even existing anymore.
Yeah, the one question I have when you first started with that, and I think it's an important thing that we all do, no matter how quote unquote involved we become, is constantly taking responsibility. I hadn't met someone, apart from my mentor, I hadn't met a young woman who was of my age group that I wanted to be with that took as much responsibility as you do. I mean, I know I did it myself, but then to meet it in you was like, thank God you exist, because you're taking responsibility on not only on a basic communication level, but also on the energetic level, and then seeing if there's anything in your own being that's manifesting something in your reality, whether it's me or whether it's with someone else in your life, family member or friend. I saw you and observed you, and I think you were doing the same to me, of how does this being in front of me deal with adversity or some problem in their life. And or like you were saying, you go and take your own space, which is critical for couples or anyone who wants to be good at relating. Take your own space and then go and take responsibility for it. So maybe you want to give a bit of insight of what you do when you go to your own space to figure something out.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. And also, what I wanted to say, when you said this, even in a or critical in a partnership, but even on your own, I would like to say you can't be here for people if you are not here for yourself. And especially, I think I realized that once I started to teach, once I started to be also a mentor for some women or even for someone else, once I started to be someone who is like a leading example, I couldn't. I mean, how I could even recognize what's going on with them if I don't know what's going on with me. And it's most of the time in the beginning, or if there is some, a little bit stress situation or whatever, we might be a little bit lost because there is a lot of energies going on. So always, once you need to know who you are in that moment, and if you are not really clear with your mind immediately, which I think for women it's more difficult because we are really sensitive and we feel everything. I'm not saying every woman, but we feel a lot. And so for me, there were all the time like kind of triggers or moments when I could feel really everything and everyone's energies, but I didn't feel myself because it's just the level of how you are so clean and transparent and you feel everything. So for me always was okay, I need my own space in any time with any relation. Doesn't matter if it's my family, my friends, my partner. But I think all of those things with responsibility, it's because the life I was living with my family, I was all the time growing up in very, very small flat. And even when I was coming back from travels, I didn't have much money and I have to all the time come back to that small flat. And I know that if I don't even create my space in that little space, I wouldn't ever feeling myself. So I am very good to create like a space around me, even if I'm in a small place. And it's all of those habits because I really based on yoga, and yoga was very hardcore when I was studying teacher training courses. So it's like basically really waking up every day, and first thing what I'm doing, it's just moving my body. So sometimes it's very gentle stretching yoga, sometimes I need to dance, sometimes I like to run, but it's really for me, it has to start with the movement, moving the energy through the body, because once the energy is stuck, if your body is not flexible, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? It's just stuck energy. So for me, it's the movement is the key, and then food, healthy, vibrational food, and really then going with the flow. But I need to start with the movement. This is my recommendation.
When there's something that comes up, what is the process that you normally do?
Okay. Yeah. First, this is the time for having a space. So I need to go and be alone. There were moments that I couldn't figure it out this by myself. I needed to be with my mentor. I needed to call my mentor, or I needed to have a session. But now I am in the point that I can pretty much clear everything on my own. So also, even if it's just space somewhere in the room, but usually it really works for me, I go to the nature, because nature and what the forest ability is, you go to the forest in 15 minutes and you're clear. Anything it's sitting on you, the forest is just taking it because it's just the pure source. So I need a nature, I need a space, and then basically diving into myself, which is through the breath. Sometimes I need to chant, do some mantras, do some movements, and really like going into that thing. Sometimes it's like I can dance it out, or moving out through yoga and just like release it. Sometimes I need to really, go deeply and work with visualization or some kind of type of work where I am calling as well my inner child or masculine feminine principle. I need to talk with them, or I need to hug them, or whatever is there, and then figuring out where is it coming from. If is it not anything from those kind of places, and it's just like the energy indifference or disbalance, then I'm clearing myself with a lot of incense essentials and nature helps me.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot in the first months, and even now, you would happily own up and take responsibility if you would say something like, I had some unhealed thing that I needed to heal, and I've gone away and done that now, and now I come back and I realize, the problem yesterday or a few days ago was because of that thing, but I think I've healed it now, and can we move forward in a different way? You would say that, and I would say similar things to you, but it was the first time a woman, actually, well, my mentor might have said it, but first time in a relationship ever was a woman, or even a man. I'm not into gay relationships, but a woman in partnership would do that, and it's incredibly. I think you have to. For me, it's incredibly. One of the reasons why we're still together now and probably will be for forever. So, how important do you think that is, taking responsibility and speaking about it?
Yeah, it is definitely very important, but I would like to say or mention that why it's probably so strongly into me, because as I was speaking, coming from this kind of like yoga military background, I think the first part of my healing, I was really into that masculine type of energy. I was really, the thing is that the healing process, the whole healing journey, it's really, you have to reach a certain time when you are military with yourself. You have to be strong, you have to push yourself, you have to do things. It's not just like, yeah, I'm speaking about that, it's so cool, but I have to do it. And this, I have to do it, I was all the time having it with the practices. We started at 5 o'clock in the morning, hardcore meditation, hardcore yoga, da 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 da. And it's also a certain kind of responsibility of myself that I knew that the next morning I have to get up and do it again, because yeah, I am responsible for my life and I want to be healthy. I want to be, happy. I want to be in an amazing state of mind all the time. And I know that if I'm not doing it, sometimes I could also pressurize myself a bit too much. So that's why when I was in too much masculinity, and then it switched. But and it switched thanks to you, because I could go again back to my feminine. But like, it's important, and this is the responsibility of your own life. You are responsible if you are responsible of your own life, if you know what you want to create, if you know how you want to feel in your body. As I said in the beginning, the freedom was the thing for me, but freedom also, I want to feel great into my body. I want to feel fluid. I don't want to have pain. I want to be, and that's the responsible part, that I have to get up no matter what and do the things. And I think that's why I'm even responsible in other things, because I just know what I'm creating. And it doesn't mean that I always like what I'm creating, because there is still sometimes something which is not healed, as you said. So then, but I come and I take the responsibility that it's this.
You have to show up healed in yourself if you want someone to take responsibility for their own healing. I showed up as healed as I could have been. I wouldn't say I was 100% healed, but close to it. There's a couple of things, but yeah, down the line, I think you would say the only real things that kind of get in my way are, well, one, I need my own space to create things, and I don't like, not that you do it, but I need that space to create. Not that you take my space or anything, but the other thing is the shamanic work that I do in the astral realms, and because I'm clearing God knows what out of God knows what dimension and sending it back to source all the time as a you often, we get, we're the center points for this clearing, or one of the center points with other shamans out there. And that can cause chaos, and I immediately know when I need to clear something, and if I'm not on my own at that point, I make it pretty clear, and I can be a little bit abrupt sometimes that I need to be alone to clear it, because I can't be in the room with someone or around anything when I need to clear things. Other than that, there's not much that really comes between us. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm perfect at communication. I think communication is a never-ending improvement journey. I like the work of Robert Tennyson Stevens, who did the conscious language work, and my mentor taught me around conscious language and how important that is to create your own life and create harmony in relationships. I think that's a constant improvement because it's a new day every day. You're communicating from a fresh point of view, and new things happen all the time, and new things happen in the world all the time, and so I don't wake up in the morning saying I am a perfect communicator. I try and be that in the day. Some days I'm not because of something I needed to clear, or I saw some news about the incel community yesterday, and that annoyed the living Jesus out of me, because the government in the UK think they can somehow educate out the murderous rage of the incel community, which I'm not going to go into now, but those horrific 5 murders with a gun the other weekend, that annoyed me. So things like that, as well as the ongoing totalitarian attack on humanity, still annoy me. So it's not like I'm not annoyed by anything. There won't be any peace in my soul until there's justice for every, probably swear, but motherfucker who's fucked with this planet and put us in a state where we're on our I'm not on my knees, but most people are on their knees begging for some godly biblical savior to come down and switch this around so that it's clear that we can actually win here. I'm certainly calling for that, and there's a lot of things everyone needs to do to make sure that happens. And as I've said, calling for truth and speaking the truth and being the truth and fighting for truth and living the truth is the fastest way we're going to get there as a species. So I think as a couple, we're connected to the collective constantly, and we are reforming and shaping our inner worlds on a daily basis to help the evolution come quicker and in more grace. And we need more couples to join us on that journey, and more people to join us on that journey. And we are mentoring people. If you have some interest, by all means, you can download my book from heartinitiation.com, and yeah, we're available to have a discovery call with. You can find that on heartinitiation.com as well, where we can talk more deeply about how to access the Holy Trinity within and really get into your power, your pleasure, and your purpose, which is what we're all about, really. Is there anything you want to say to couples out there, or anyone thinking about coming on a journey? Minimum 3 months, normally going to be 5 months is what I work with. Thinking about coming on a journey where taking their power back and living their true purpose. Is there a message you want to tell them?
Yeah, we are ready for you. I want to say that it's really what the world needs. The couples who are together really for purpose, with the highest state of love, and they are real creators, because those creators could be the leaders of a new education level, the creators of a new kind of those amazing full potential kids who are abundant and free. And this is what we really want to create here, the new living planet with just all of those blessed energies. And we are really ready to share and serve us into this highest way of expression. So thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and we worked well together because I'm the fire and you're the water, and so I'm too much fire. I've worked with people and it can become overwhelming, but with your water and care and your energetic clearing and the regression therapy that you do and all the other work that you do with women as well as men. You can work with men to do energetic clearings and regressions. And then my work, which is a bit more focused on the inner alchemy of the and activation of the I am self, the divine plan, divine mission, divine flow, and doing a lot of that Holy Trinity healing that has helped me so much and that my mentor taught me through her wisdom and passing that on. Really, we don't do this for money. No, I don't do it for money. I do it because it needs to be out there, and as it says throughout the Bible and scripture, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. It's my dharma and duty to feed this knowledge on to the people that want to eat it and consume it and be it and live the truth. And it's not a money thing. There's a billion other ways I could make money, and it's never really interested me in this world because I knew it was a kind of tool for the dark ones. But once we clearly enter this world, a new world for the people of this earth to enter the gates of heaven, then I see money as a tool needed to create big things. The metaphor that I use is a rainforest. A rainforest needs rain in order for the flowers and the animals to grow. You need abundant rain in a rainforest in the Amazon. And so for that cycle to grow, a new conscious form of money needs to come not only through my business, but other businesses out there that are serving for the greater good. There's a multitude of businesses out there that need help. So we're looking to build things here. We're looking to build our education out. We're looking to refine it. So this is a continual process for us, as we're always the students as well as the teachers. And yeah, if you're interested in getting to know us more, then we can jump on a call. There's just a form to fill out. If you answer the questions on heartinitiation.com, you go to the menu, you'll see a discovery call form. And on that form, I think there's about 10 questions. This shouldn't take you very long. But if you just answer those, then all being well, I'll send you a link to book an hour with us, probably roll over a bit more than an hour, where if you're in a couple, then you can come on both together. If you're not in a couple yet, you can still work with one or both of us. Kachi normally works one-on-one with women. I can work with either gender, but it's also good to have Katya there to do some of the energetic clearing sessions and sometimes regression sessions, which we can all do online, which is great news. So yeah, we'll be back for more podcasts. This was really an introduction and a bit of a journey through how we met and our inner work. But we'll be back to chat more regularly. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you on those podcasts.
See you.